Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do my favorite palettes. So I know someone requested like, hey, talk about some of your favorite palettes to kind of give, us an idea of maybe which ones we should pick up, which ones maybe pass on. So I'm going to mention some of my favorite palettes that are like just to kind of give you guys a variety because everybody has different things they're looking for. And then as a bonus, I'll mention my top 5 favorite palettes, which was not easy. So let's just kind of get started because I don't want to make this too long. So the first palette that I'm actually going to mention, and this definitely is a must-have for everybody, especially if you're from beginner to advanced, and this is the Lorac Pro Palette. And I hope you guys aren't sick of hearing about this, but it's heard of for a reason. I honestly love this palette. First of all, the sleekness of it. This is incredibly travel friendly, and then I love the fact that they have a row of all mattes and then they have a row of shimmers, so they kind of give you a little bit something of everything, because you definitely need mattes and shimmers, so you don't have to kind of dig into different palettes. This is a great all-in-one palette. 16 eyeshadows. And in general, I love Lorac eyeshadows. These are awesome, great quality eyeshadows. And I remember I actually ended up getting this because I had some points to kind of redeem from Ulta, and I was like, what should I get? And I was like, I guess I'll pick this palette up. And honestly, I'm so glad I did, because this is now one palette that I always rave about. And I'll make sure to kind of list the prices here down below so you guys can see the price of everyone. But they're all except one are going to be around the same range, but honestly, for about, most of them have anywhere from like 12, 16 eyeshadows to go with, and if you kind of break it down, honestly the price is worth it, so it's definitely an investment. So I think this is great because it has so many neutral colors, but it's not a boring, mundane neutral palette, because you definitely have these pops of color to kind of work with, and you can just create so many different looks with this palette. So if you're a starter, I would definitely say pick this one up. And if you're advanced and you don't have this palette, why don't you have this palette? Pick this one up. Another kind of neutral palette with still those pops of colors that I really love is this Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. So I have the old version. So packaging, the old version is a little bit clunky, a little bit thicker, but I think like a couple months later they actually made it a little bit more compact, travel friendly, so now they're a little bit better. But honestly, I still take this and travel with me. And this is another palette where I was like, what, I'm just gonna pass, like I really don't need it. But then I swatched it at Ulta. Oh my god, when I swatched it, the pigmentation of these are honestly really freaking amazing. So I really love this palette. It's definitely a lot of warm tones, a lot of neutrals, but I love it for like maybe this burgundy color and this like kind of pop of purple. Just the dimension you can kind of do with these, you get a nice kind of variety of mattes and shimmers. And I think honestly, for someone who's really gonna go for more of the browns neutral look, honestly this is probably one of my go-to palettes for work, and as well as for the evening time when I don't know what I want to do and I want something pretty neutral. This is one I normally reach for. So this next palette, I actually was not sure if I wanted to mention it. This is another one where I overlooked it, and I'm so glad I got it after all. And this is the Stila in the Light palette. I ended up getting this because I never decided to get the Urban Decay, the original Naked palette, and I decided to get this instead because this was maybe like $19, $20 cheaper. And this is basically the Urban Decay, Naked 1 palette. It kind of has those same kind of colors, those tones, but I remember I specifically wanted it for this color Kitten and this color Bubbly. These are just two gorgeous colors. If you want just these colors, they have them in separate pens, but these are just freaking amazing. Those two right there, oh, awesome. However, I wasn't sure if I wanted to mention this because I'll go into Ulta and Sephora and online and I won't see this palette as well as the other kind of renditions of the colors that they have in these. And so I googled it and I saw the regular Stila Cosmetics still has these, but they have them for $20, which is great if you do want to pick this one up. It's half price now. Originally it was like $39, so it's about $40. Now it's $20. I think maybe they're trying to wean these out, this type of packaging, and now bring in that really beautiful kind of like gold sleek packaging. But if you really want to get this palette, I would definitely say go to Stila Cosmetics or Stila.com online and just get it for $20. It's half off. I'm so glad I ended up getting my hands on this because I really love these, and I still can kind of use some of these matte shades for work. And if I want to jazz it up on casual Friday, I'll kind of pop in a little shimmery shade in there. I don't know why I need to stop holding off on palettes and maybe just buying them, but they are expensive, so that's why I hold off Another palette that I held off on. In general, I'm going to stop holding off on Lorac palettes because they're normally pretty freaking awesome. And this is the Lorac Unzipped palette. This is the original one. So this has more rose gold shades in them, and these are just beautiful rose gold shades. I fell in love with this pigmentation, and these pans are actually bigger than the Lorac Pro and the Pro 2. And you get 10 of them, so these are really great. The quality of these pigmentation, and I love these. This is a great kind of like a summer, spring, fall. I feel like you can use it for anything, but if you love rose gold, I would definitely pick up this palette. And another one that I snoozed on, but I'm so glad, like, you would not regret picking up this palette. Now, in case you're someone who's not into sort of shimmery shades, you prefer matte, a great awesome all matte palette is this one from Sonia Kashuk. This is the Eye on Neutral matte palette. They have an Eye on Neutral like shimmer palette, all shimmers, but these are all mattes, and you can get Sonia Kashuk at Target. I did a kind of review and demo talking more in depth about this, so I'll link that down below. But honestly, for $20, that price, I do remember, I'll still write it down here, but honestly that price just sticks in my head because $20, another one that I snoozed on everything, but once I get it, honestly, it definitely is worth the price. And this is great. You can take this from day to night, so I definitely love this. It has a lot of warm shades in there, so if you're someone who likes warm shades, I would definitely check this one out, and you won't regret it, I promise. And honestly, it's great because you have all your mattes, and if you just have like those single eyeshadows, pop a shimmers, or if you have another one of these palettes that have like all shimmers, just pop one of those into the center and you're good to go. I love this because it's starter friendly and budget friendly, so you really don't have to break the bank. I wish I would have gotten this or checked this one out as one of like my first type of starter eyeshadow kits instead of really breaking the bank and getting one of those other ones. But honestly, I'm glad I really got this, and it is just so sleek and compact. I like this one to put in my makeup bag on my way to work. This is super duper travel friendly. Another all matte palette that I love, a newer one. This is from Tarte Cosmetics. This is the Tartelette palette. Another one that I did a review and demo on, so you can kind of see, but I love this one. This is definitely luxury type packaging, very sleek, very compact, but it's got like that gold. This packaging is just everything. This, honestly, if you prefer more cool tone eyeshadows, I would definitely go towards this. But if you prefer more warm tone eyeshadows, definitely go maybe for the Sonia Kashuk one. This, you know, palette, I'm so glad that I got. I really love just the smoothness of these. These are definitely very buttery. And I like just taking this from work, or they have these really great purples, which are still work appropriate depending which ones you pick. But this is great for every day. You definitely, you know, will not waste this shadow, whereas more other ones have more shimmer shades, but this definitely has matte, so you can kind of wear, you know, whenever. Number 3 eyeshadow all matte palette is gonna be the Meet Matte Nude, and these come in great neutrals, but I feel like these are different type of neutrals that you won't always have, and they still have like those pops of kind of purple, and then you have your burgundies as well, and you have like dark charcoal grays to kind of work with, so it's like nudes, but nudes that you don't get in every palette. I like the fact that it has this huge mirror to kind of work with. Packaging is definitely sleek as well. I love this for travel, and it's whimsical. Who doesn't like a touch of whimsy, you know, throughout their day? I definitely gravitate towards those, but if you have whimsy and quality, you know, type products, that's something I'm gonna go for. And I love the fact their names are all called Matte something. Matt Garcia, Matt Johnson. I did a review on them and demo on this one as well quite a while ago, but honestly, the size of these eyeshadows, I definitely think it's worth it. While you only get 9, these are definitely gonna last you a really long time. And if you want, I found out they're easy to kind of pop out if you want to put in a Z palette, if you want specific colors, or if you just want to put in a whole big palette. I think this is definitely worth it. Another awesome thing you can definitely find if you want in stores, they have the Balm cosmetics items at Kohl's now, so if you want to pick something up. However, I would definitely hold off and wait. Outlook, I'll link it down below. It's a site that just has like high-end products, and they usually have flash sales every once in a while, and I know that the Balm comes out like every 3 or 4 months. It comes out like quarterly, I swear. So it might be coming up soon actually, because I remember last time it came out around March. And for the Balm products, they have 50% off like all Balm products. So you can get this palette for half off as well as their other products. If not, the Balm, you know, cosmetics.com, Balm.com, just look it up, on their site. Follow them on like their social media, like on Instagram especially. They'll announce when like their whole site is going to be 50% off, which I think is normally the time when I buy the Balm products. While I love them, they are a little bit pricey. They are a high-end brand, but I always get them for 50% off from Hot Look as well as their own type of site. So I think that's a great deal. Now, there's controversy between favorite palettes of the Urban Decay Naked 1, Naked 2, Naked 3. I personally, if I had to choose between, I have two of them, but if I had to choose between the Naked 2 and the Naked 3, the Naked 3 is definitely my favorite one. They just did it with the packaging. You know, it's definitely very sleek, but the colors I feel like stood out for me. I love rose gold mauve tone colors. I feel like they're very feminine. They're just very feminine. They're very beautiful. It's like a pretty type of look you can kind of do with it, but they have like these darker kind of purples. I feel like I just get so many sultry looks out of this palette, so I really like that. If you are, you know, more of a kind of cool tone, you know, type of eyeshadow wear, definitely check out the Urban Decay Naked 3. But if you like maybe the Naked 1, definitely check out that Stila in the Light for, you know, $20 now at stilacosmetics.com. But in general, I really love this palette because I think it's very versatile. While they have, while they have a lot of kind of shimmery shades, they still have a lot of matte shades. I actually did a work look using this palette, and I used, you know, a lot of the pinks and the mauve tones with it. I'll link that down below so you guys can check it out. So honestly, just because it has shimmers, I definitely have a lot of mattes that I can kind of work with, so which is why I really like this palette. I have a lot of neutral palettes, but I have neutral palettes that have pops of color. I feel like honestly with neutral palettes, they're different. They're not all the same. They all offer something a little bit different, but I feel like those are the ones that I'm gonna get more use out of personally. I know there's people who like those crazy funky colors, and you know, I wish I worked somewhere like MAC or Sephora or just somewhere crazy funky where I can wear all those like electric type colors, but I work in an office setting and I do want to play with my palettes, you know, throughout the week, not just on the weekend or, you know, 5:01 p.m. on a Friday. So I definitely lean more towards maybe more neutral wearable everyday colors. Another one that I really love is by the Balm. Again, this is their Nude Tude palette. This is definitely one of their neutral palettes, hence the name, and I love this because they have, once again, their mix of shimmers and mattes for this burgundy color. Honestly, I feel like burgundy maroon colors on eyes, they just make them so beautiful, so sultry and feminine. But I feel like you definitely have these crazy kind of like shimmery dark tones. You have your dark brown and black that you can really vamp up the color, take it from day to night, and do some real nice smoky eyes, or you can just do like everyday smoky eye, you know, type of things you can do here. And I think this is definitely, while it's neutral, it's definitely a very versatile palette. Again, the Balm, 50% off. Go check it out. As well as, I think I got this for Christmas, and I think actually my boyfriend, you can find the Nude Tude palette on Amazon as well if you don't want to wait for like those flash sales. So I would definitely check it out. The packaging of they're cute. I love the fact that it's cute packaging. While you have stuff like maybe Benefit Cosmetics that have adorable packaging, but it's not very compact, whereas the Balm, it's adorable and compact, travel friendly. Take this with you, you know, on your day to work, on your way to school or something, and you can definitely, you know, still travel with it. The final palette, it's a newer one that I picked up, and this is like the sequel to the Lorac Unzipped palette, but this is the Unzipped Gold, and I went into Ulta just to swatch, which is probably a really bad idea because I ended up buying it because, once again, the pigmentation on this, just like the original Unzipped palette, I think is just as great quality. However, I remember seeing pictures of this palette and thinking like, that looks exactly like the original Unzipped, like I'm not even gonna bother with it. But no, when you have them side by side and you see it in the store, they're definitely different. It just depends on rose gold and gold. So if you prefer more gold, definitely go for this one. If you prefer more rose gold, I would definitely check out the Unzipped palette. Nevertheless, their shimmery shades are just as on point as the Unzipped ones, and the size of these pens, I love the size of them. Now comes the hard part, my top 5 favorite palettes. I definitely wanted to show you guys my top 10, you know, kind of that I really like, just to give you a variety because everybody's different, but personally my top 5 and my reasons behind them, I'll share with you guys. This was difficult. It took me a while to kind of narrow it down. My number 1, or if I had to choose one, I know definitely the Lorac Pro. Honestly, you're going to get the most out of this palette. I definitely think this is worth the money, and this is one I just always go back to. You have mattes and and shimmers, the equal amount of matte and shimmers. Not where you have, you know, a couple of mattes to go in there and, you know, more shimmers, but you can definitely create, I feel like, just so many looks with this palette. And then honestly, one that's really kind of tied with that Lorac Pro one now, but I feel like because they have like the matte blacks and the browns, the Lorac Pro kind of just wins a little bit more, but this one is a close second, and this is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. Honestly, this is just one that I reach for because I do work in that office setting. This is one I feel like that I can play with, you know, throughout the week so much and still kind of mix it up, but still be office work appropriate. So honestly, for work or everyday, you know, kind of school, you can still like play with a lot of these colors and still remain kind of neutral and not too crazy. But if you know you want to go crazy with it, honestly, play with some of those pops of colors in the Lorac Pro. Now for the all matte palettes that I would choose, it was definitely between the Tarte and the Sonia Kashuk palette, and this is another one that someone had asked me, I think it was either on the Tarte or the Sonia Kashuk review and demo video, like, okay, which one would you choose? I'm like, don't ask me that. Why would you ask me that? I don't want to choose. But honestly, it just came down to, I ended up choosing the Sonia Kashuk Ion Neutral palette, and it came down to price and the fact that I feel like these are more like warm tone type of colors, whereas the Tarte is more cool tones. I love both, but I feel like I'm gonna lean more towards the warm tone colors and maybe a lot more people, but the price just did it. If I had to get an all neutral matte palette, well, the Tarte has the purples. I was like, but those has the purples, but these are warm, but that's more expensive, and this is a little bit cheaper. I can live without the purple shades because this is only $20, and if I had to choose, I definitely, when it comes down to it, you're like, well, $20, I can save $20 and go buy a lipstick or go buy mascara, buy 2-3 other things, and get a matte palette. So for me personally, that's what it came down to. So the Sonia Kashuk Ion Neutral, if I had to choose, I would definitely keep this bad boy. So now with the Lorac palette Unzipped, which one did I choose? The fact that there's 2 Lorac eyeshadow palettes in my top 5 just says a lot about the quality and pigmentation, and honestly Lorac is creeping up as one of my favorite like high-end brands for eyeshadows. When I hear they're coming out with a new eyeshadow palette, it's like, honestly, I gotta check it out. There's nothing but good quality, but when it comes down to the Unzipped Original and the Unzipped Gold, I personally am gonna go with the Unzipped Original because, and I feel like for chicks it comes down to like just like jewelry, rose gold or gold, and you know some chicks like me would just get the gold and the rose gold, you know, with the palettes because they can't choose. But personally, I feel as though the Unzipped palette, the shadows in the Unzipped palette are more unique. Whereas the Unzipped Gold, while still beautiful, I feel as though you can find more dupes in like single eyeshadows for the Unzipped Gold. So I feel like the fact that this palette is filled with more unique colors, I definitely gonna lean more towards this Unzipped Original palette. And honestly, it comes down to, I really love the fact that these are just very feminine, just very sultry colors on the eyes, and this maroon unbridled color just won me over. I love maroon type of burgundy shades on the eyes. Now palette number 5, I feel like that was the hardest one to kind of narrow it down to, but I had to, you know, kind of be like, which is the one that you lean towards and gravitate towards the most, that you can do the most out of with, and that would definitely be, for me, number 5 would be the Nude Tude. The other ones aren't in a particular order, this one either, but just to think of, okay, what's the last one you want to add on there? And honestly, it came down to the Nude Tude palette for me. I feel like this is great for everybody, and I really like it, and I still kind of go towards it a lot, especially when I kind of want to create, you know, maybe more nighttime looks, but then also I can use this a lot for work. And definitely, as you can see, this sultry color, this kind of neutral color is definitely one that I use a lot. And the fact that I can find this for a really great price. I can find this for half off. So that's what I really like about the Balm products. I maybe am I'm more willing to purchase Balm products because I can get this for the 50% off. So I can still, while this is a great high-end palette, I can get it for half the price, which is why in the end I was like, you know what? For the price, I definitely, this is one that I'm going to choose, and the fact that it's not only cute packaging, it's great quality product. So those are some of the palettes that I really love, I really enjoyed. I try not to do any limited edition ones, maybe except for that Stila one, but because I still see you can get your hands on it, so I would for $20, which I wish I would have gotten that deal. But I definitely hope you guys enjoyed this, maybe trying to, you know, kind of see what palettes you might want to get next, because that is always the question, which one do I want to get next, because there's so many, and I know definitely later there's going to be an updated video maybe in a couple years, because there's just so many palettes that are still on my list. And maybe it's not the easiest thing to purchase, because a lot of these high-end palettes, you know, they're expensive, so it's an investment, you know, which one is going to work best for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what are some of your favorite eyeshadow palettes. You know, maybe there's some that are on my list and you can justify why I need them as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.